Good morning, everybody. Me and Sophie here again. Today we're going to be working on some tractors. Say hi to everybody, Soph. There's a reason that the title of this page is Random Adventures. You just never know what we're going to be getting into. So today, I got a bunch of antique tractors. This weekend is our annual tractor ride. It's a fundraising event we do for our local volunteer fire department. It's an idea that my father had. We got about 30 people going this year. I think 23, 24 tractors. And we got some riders decided to let people ride on trailers. People pay money, it's $30 to go along, and then we drive to a semi-local eating establishment. Get your lunch provided, we have some ice cream. It used to be we would stop and see a local attraction, a museum or something of the like, but with COVID, it's kind of put the end to that. Maybe in a year or two, we'll get back to doing that. But anyways, today I'm gonna walk you through the process of getting a couple of these antiquers going, and hope you enjoy it. This here is a Massey Harris Pony. Tiny little tractor. It's cute. Not really sure what year it is. We got so many tractors around here, it's hard to keep them straight. We need to start putting labels on them. It's cute, but it doesn't have a lot of power. It doesn't go very fast. It is the most god-awful, uncomfortable thing to get on and off of. Once you're on it, it isn't so bad. But I've got the gas turned on. I've had the battery charger on it for about 40 minutes. And we're going to give her a little fire and see what happens. I can smell gas. Doesn't seem like that's going to work. Okay, we'll have to come back to this one later. This tractor here is the one that Sophie and I are going to drive on Saturday. We're going to lead the parade. We normally do. I'm kind of the chairman of it. Got Sophie's seat right here. This used to be on my bicycle, but I made her a bigger one. Got my high-tech phone holder there. We're going to have to start putting labels on these tractors, what year they are. I really don't know what year this one is. Probably early 40s. Mid 40s. It's on rubber tires, so it was either before or after the war. I'm going to guess after. Dad started picking all these tractors up. He goes down to Texas. Every old farmer has an antique tractor that his wife didn't want him to buy, and those guys pass away and their widows just can't wait to sell them. Dad's more than happy to pick them up. This is a 1950 Farmall Cub demonstrator. They would send out a tractor to each dealership that guys could demo, and they painted them white so that when they went to resell them, they you knew you were getting a tractor that 50 other guys had drove. Got a Fergie back there. This International 240. It's got quite a little bit of power and it runs good, but it's a bit of a turd. It's kind of rough. But, oh, I guess Sophie's ready to go. Sometimes these old tractors sit here all winter. They fuel condenses moisture in the sediment bowl. So we're gonna try taking the bowl off this tractor and clean it out. Get a little fresh fuel down into the system. Unfortunately, the engineers back in these days didn't think too much about ergonomics and how things would be easy to work. Sediment ball on this thing, up inside this tin, you can't hardly reach it. But I got my trusty old crescent wrench given to me by a friend of my in-laws. Slim Smith used to live up by the WFOB transmitter in Fostoria by the landfill. Pretty interesting old guy. He died, oh, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. He gave me that wrench. I've carried it in my pocket just about every day since I've had it. Once in a while I leave it, falls out of my pocket in a chair. But it's always come back to me. Pretty happy about that. It always seems like it. Maybe we had the petcock turned the wrong way. And the gas was actually off. Didn't seem to want to stop running, but and that was the problem, folks. So we got that pony running. Well, I'm going to move the battery charger over here. One of the things you got to be careful of on these old tractors, especially these red ones, sometimes the ground is positive instead of negative. You got to make sure that you're looking at the battery terminals, hooking them up the correct direction. A lesson my son learned last night. Oh, that was loose. We might have to get around and tighten that up. We're going to put the battery charger on this for a little while and see if we can't make it run. Pull. I'm getting a good connection here. Maybe. Well, maybe. Nope. Looks like I'm going to need to clean the battery terminal on the old Farmall A. Probably wouldn't hurt to just put a whole new terminal on it. I think I got some laying around here, but just to get her started up, get her over to the shop. I'm going to find the battery terminal cleaner. It's in my dad's toolbox. He's always complaining about how unorganized Tyler and I are. As you can see, the pristine condition of his toolbox, I can see where that really frustrates him. But I'm sure he will not be happy when he sees this video. But got our battery terminal cleaner, and we'll head over to the old barn. I left Sophie in the shop, tied up and got a bowl of water. She's not real happy because she likes to be where I am, but I just can't have her foot underfoot all the time. So we'll go over here, we'll get this battery terminal cleaned out. See if I can get it tightened up on the post. It doesn't get real tight. And maybe then we'll get her to start. Seems like there's juice there, it just doesn't want to. And I know it's dark in here, my wife's gonna yell and say, "You're gonna get better lighting in your videos," but it's kind of hard to do when all you have is a cell phone and a selfie stick. But, so, we're gonna see if I can set this up where y'all can have a view of what's going on. Probably really not. There we go. Looks like that's the battery box. I already took the cable off. Get the terminal cleaner down on here. Pretty close to the tank. What sometimes works a little better trusty pocket knife here. Someday I'll do an everyday carry video. I'm pretty sure you can't be a guy that owns a YouTube channel without doing a video about the crap you keep in your pockets. I might keep more than most. My Leatherman here, handy dandy, got a file on it. Say, I pull this thing out. People are always saying, you know, why do you carry all that crap in your pockets? But I bet I pull this thing out 5 or 6 times a day. I don't always make sparks with it. That's kind of frowned upon, but there we go. Back on. Pull that handy dandy pocket wrench out. See if we can't tighten that up. My buddy Russ used to work with me at the county. He's still technically part-time. We don't see him much. Very busy guy. And has a pretty important job in his little community on the island. He's the only paramedic there most of the time. So he doesn't get away. Yep, that's not going to work. But anyways, Ross used to borrow this wrench from me at least once a shift. He'd be working on something and reach out, ask me if I could have my wrench or my tape measure. Probably should just buy him a little wrench to keep in his pocket. Looks like I might have to put a new end on here. Tried. She tried. He's going to need a little more time on the charger. Let's make sure the gas is turned on. So when it is time, we'll head back over to the shop and see if we can't find some terminals. I'll put a new battery terminal on that. If not, I think I can put a new bolt in it, file a little bit out of the clamp and make it close tighter. I've done that before. The trick with working with all this stuff is trying to not spend any more money than you have to. Criminy sakes, if we had to put a new battery in everything every year, that'd be thousands of dollars. So give you a little short tour of some of the tractors we got here. It's a 1939 Farmall A. This one's really nice. It's all painted up. Not sure where this came from. Dad would have to be here to tell you, but right now today, he's at the King Midget Show over in Bowling Green, and if you don't know what a King Midget is, I'll bring you over here and I'll show you. This thing, this is apparently the one he didn't want to take to the show. He's got two of these. They came as a little kit car back in the day. They were road legal. Basically got a lawnmower engine in there, and they go maybe 30 miles an hour. I'm not sure. I wouldn't drive it any faster than that. Got this Farmall B over here. That one's pretty rough. But maybe someday we'll get her painted up. The tin on it's pretty good. Wouldn't take too much to get that fixed up. This 504 Farmall International. This was my Grandpa Cox's. Grandpa was the original Cox to farm on this farm. Never owned the farm. Grandma and Grandpa rented it for years. About 40 years, I think. Grandpa passed away late 70s, and the landlord was in her 90s, and she didn't want to deal with another tenant. So Dad ended up buying the place from her, and couldn't afford this tractor when he bought the farm. He had to have something to farm with, and we bought the 3020 because it was more practical to get the work done. I know he was really sad to see this one go. He found it a couple years ago. It wasn't too far from here, and a guy had cleaned it up, got it all painted, and it's a really nice looking tractor. This will be the one Dad drives on Saturday. Another demonstrator back here. This is I believe a C, Farmall C, yep. Another demonstrator. They're kind of collectors. They did a nice job of cleaning this up and getting it painted. The tin is really nice. But it's been a few years, starting to see a little bit of staining from the exhaust and some oil leaks, and I don't know if we could steam clean that up and get it clean without taking the paint off, but we're probably not going to mess with it. One of the things that we believe in, these aren't just show tractors. They are meant to be worked and gotten out and driven around. We don't do a lot of work with them anymore, but a few of them we get out and plow with. This thing here, Tyler bought. He thought he had $1 million, but the mounts for the rear end are all busted out of it. One of these days he'll get around and he'll weld the plate back in there and get it working, I'm sure. Nice little mower. He's kind of got a problem with mowers. He's owned more mowers than I've owned underwear, I think. This one here is mine. 1939 Farmall H. You can tell it's a 39 because this deck is notched out here. Well, you can also read the serial number, but that's a quick way to tell. We got another H sitting here. This is an H. You can see how that plate's flat. This is Uncle Steve's. Not sure that Steve wanted to own a tractor, but apparently he has a hard time keeping his hands in his pocket when he's at an auction. And so all of a sudden, he owned a tractor. But he got on a tractor ride with us last year, and he'll go again this year. And that one's a 48. And you can see there's not a whole lot of difference between the 48 and the 39. But yeah, Steve enjoyed his ride. He never was a farm kid, but we'll get him broke in. Back to mine, this 39. Don't have any proof, no documentation. Supposedly, this was the first Farmall H ordered in Ohio at the World's Fair in Chicago in 1938. I think that's the right year, maybe it was 37. It was owned by my great uncle, Uncle Paul. He was a unique guy, to say the least, old bachelor. And we could probably do a whole video just about him. But the most unique thing I think about this tractor is it was owned by my great uncle, and my wife's great uncle sold it to him. And of course, neither one of us were even thought of at that time. And the fact that she's Catholic and I'm Methodist, but back then nobody would have ever dreamt that we'd have got married. This thing over here, another Farmall. I think this is another C. Hood's off of it. I think this one's Tyler's. I'm not sure. This one here is kind of a bastard in this family. The only orange tractor. Well, I can't say it's the only orange tractor. It's the only case tractor that was ever been owned. Although Joe Wilbur Bell down the road, he had a case that I'm sure worked on this farm a couple of times. DC 1950. It's what they call a grassland tractor that doesn't have any 3-point hitch on it, just a PTO. And I gave Tyler this tractor. A friend of ours. His wife used to work with my wife, Sophie. Got this Kubota. This poor little tractor has taken a beating. We use this. It's a 450 horse tractor. We use it like it's a 100 horse tractor. We got more counterweight on there than we really should have. Poor Sophie, she doesn't like being where I'm not. Speaking of Wilbur Bell, this right here, this gem, a 1932 Eagle 6A. It's got a flathead 6 engine on it. They didn't produce these very long. That whole underbelly of that tractor, the whole basic frame of that tractor is one big piece of cast. And that was not very cost effective. But old Wilbur, he lived down on the corner, about a quarter of a mile away from here. I've heard a lot of stories about Wilbur over the years. He was basically Dad's second father. He was one of those guys back in the day that could do anything. He was the first guy in the area to have a welder. He could do machine work and mechanic work. He owned a thresher, ran a threshing ring. He bought this tractor brand new in '32 with the thresher to go behind it. It's gone. But one day, he called my dad up. Wilbur's been gone for, I don't know, 15 years. He called my dad up one day and said, "Hey, I want to put new tires on the Eagle. Can you help me out?" Dad went down there, worked for 2 days. They basically had to cut the old tires off. They'd been on there for so long they were rusted right to the rim. Cleaned the tires up, got new tires mounted, got all done, and Wilbur says, "Well, now that we got that job done, he can go to his new home. Guy's coming to pick it up in just a little bit." Dad was just about sick. He says, "What do you mean, new home? I've begged for years to buy this tractor. You told me you would never sell it." Wilbur said, "You're right, I won't ever sell it. It's yours, take it home." Dad was so excited he drove his tractor home, left his truck there, had to walk back and get it. But we decided to leave it just like it is. It's got some really cool patina, and I think Dad said it was gray when it was new. It needs some work. It hasn't ran in a couple of years. We're going to probably get it out here this fall, later this summer, and get it working. This here, 66 3020. This is my favorite tractor on the farm. I have spent countless hours of my life when I was a little boy riding on that fender right there, going back and forth across the field with Dad driving. This is what I learned to drive tractor on. Started baling straw with it when I was 8 years old. And it used to be the tractor I would drive on the tractor ride, but now that I got that basket for Sophie, I think that that's the one I'm going to use. But this is one of those tractors that'll never leave the farm. A lot of these tractors don't have any special meaning to us. This little co-op over here, it's a nice tractor, but Dad picked that up somewhere. It doesn't have any significance to the family. It wasn't owned by Grandpa or an uncle or anything like that. Over here is the big tractors we farm with. Got an MX 200. I hate that tractor. It was cheap power. I don't like the controls. You can't drive it straight across the field to save your life. But it was cheap. And then the 7410, it's kind of hard to see that, but that's our planting tractor. That's a nice little tractor. And over here, caught a couple of lawnmowers. Tyler used to be into Massey Ferguson lawnmowers. He used to have a full set of these. But he sold a bunch of them off to buy his house. The little shuttle wagon we used to have for scrap. Nobody likes to ride on it because I use those Cullipacker wheels and they say it's rough. But sounds like we better head back over to the shop and get Sophie because she's not happy. All right, here we are back out at the farm. I had to go do some mowing for Tyler today. He tries to get his mowing done on Thursdays. Of course, tonight we want to get tractors going, so I went and did most of his mowing. I left his yard. I mowed it last week, thought I was being nice. Apparently Marissa got upset because that's her job, so I left you that. We're going to go back over here and check out the Farmall A. I had the battery charger on that most of the day. Back into the dark here. My wife can complain about the video quality. Alright, here we go. We got the Farmall A, been on the charger all day. Kick that over to 12 volt, give her a little bit of boost. Some choke. Here we go. There we go. That seems like it was pretty successful. This all up in here. Put that sofa change right now. Somebody was nice enough to build some fancy steps up.